My name is Nigel Baker and I'm a supporter of Cancer United. I was born just after the war in the Lake District. My father was a serving officer in the Air Force and was stationed up there. But we moved to a little village just outside Stratford-on-Avon where I had a wonderful life before we moved again to Leicester, complete contrast. In the village we had one television at the shop, and I well remember watching the funeral of King George VI and being amazed by the pomp and the pageantry. And then later, of course, we had the coronation of our Queen, and again, all the pomp. And I saw the Household Cavalry at the Royal Horse Guards, and I thought, one day I'm going to be in there. And that became one of my objectives in life, which I did, thankfully, actually achieve. I'm proud to have served with the regiment and still work with them as a volunteer. When I left school, I joined the cavalry, had 6 years with the Household Cavalry, with the Royal Horse Guards, before transferring to another regiment and working my way up the ranks, and I was finally commissioned in the Queen's Regiment Infantry. Having served my time in the army, I then looked for a new career, and probably because of my father's association with aeroplanes, always loved aeroplanes, so headed for the airlines. Along the way, I met my dear wife. She tells me she's my dear wife. That was through horses, and also she worked for the airlines. I started working with BOAC, British Airways. I then went to British West Indian Airways. I'm very selective what airlines I work for. They have to come from somewhere nice. To be paid to go to the Caribbean seemed a really good career. I was later approached by Malaysia Airlines to take over their cargo operation, and I thought the Far East sounds interesting. And I had a very successful career with them, rising to quite high management level. And then that was as far as I could go, so it was time to leave. And I set up my own businesses, which included an unaccompanied baggage operation at Terminal 3 at Heathrow for 11 years. I had a fleet of mobile car valeting vans, which was a new concept in those days. I had a management consultancy, principally around the airlines air freight business. I had a print business. I used to print for the Ritz Hotel and similar. A very varied cartooning company. And I was into web design with some top clients when I realized that I was not too well. I was quite worried because running my own businesses, having a serious diagnosis, there's no net to fall into, so I had to look for a job before I could actually go for some serious diagnosis. And luckily South African Airways offered me a job, and I thought, well, I haven't done South Africa, that'll do nicely. And after my 6 months probation, I went to the doctor and was eventually told that I had inoperable, incurable, local advanced prostate cancer. That was a bit of a shock. In fact, the shock was so great, I wasn't sure I was going to be around at Christmas. So on the way home, I bought a sports car. Yeah, but that's another story. That car and I stayed together for 11 years. Because all of this happened in 2004, and here we are 18 years later, having had a wonderful career in cancer, I have to tell you. I got involved with cancer charities, with Cancer Research UK, with Macmillan, with Prostate Cancer UK, found myself as a cancer voice, doing media interviews, giving talks, going to conferences, campaigning. And whilst I was campaigning with Cancer Research UK, I met this lady called Jan Sheward, and I'd never met a more determined lady in my life. And she said, "You've started a support group. How do I start a support group?" So we had lunch in a very pleasant pub, and little did I realise what that had started. And I've watched Jan grow and develop Cancer United beyond all expectations. I mean, she left me way behind. How she finds the energy, I don't know. I find it hard enough. And I was very fortunate to have received a number of awards including the MBE, which I think should have been directed to Jan first. I've had awards, embarrassingly, from charities, from Cancer Research UK, from Macmillan, from the mayors of Mole Valley, from Guildford, from BBC. So here I am 18 years in, my condition is still deteriorating. I've taken part in 3 clinical trials, and I highly recommend it to anybody there. If you're offered the opportunity for a clinical trial, take part. Not only good for research, it's good for you too. You become a person again, not just a number. You become important. You're actually contributing, not sitting back. And it's very good for morale. People who do trials apparently have a better journey. So yes, here we are 18 years later. Just done 7 months of chemo. Wouldn't recommend it, but I am still here. And we're looking to the next stage. I was initially diagnosed in May 2004. I remember it so well. I'd seen the urologist and had various tests, and I had an appointment to go to the Royal Surrey and meet with him. And, you know, you don't take it too seriously. And so I went by myself. And I met the urologist, who's become a great friend of mine. I keep saying, I don't know why you gave me such devastating news. But this was in 2004, and things have changed quite considerably, mainly through our campaigning. I met with him, and he put his glasses down the end of his nose, always a bad sign. And he said, I have to tell you that you have incurable, inoperable, local advanced prostate cancer. And I go, whoa, slow down. What does that mean? And in those days, all he said was, you'll be receiving a letter, an appointment for a meeting with the oncologist after they've had their team meeting. And that was basically it. I had no information. There were no clinical nurse specialists, nobody to refer to. And I just had to come home by myself, thinking, advanced cancer. I might not be here by Christmas. So where haven't I been that I'd like to go before I leave this mortal coil? Well, I was with the airlines and the army. If I haven't been there, no great interest. Who haven't I met I'd like to meet? I've been very fortunate in my life. And I look back, I met everybody from Cary Grant to Westlife, to Desmond Tutu, and Alison Steadman, Danny John Jules, scientists, entertainers, whatever. And they're all just people, really. So what hadn't I had? And I thought, actually, I never had that 2-seater sports car. So I went straight to our local Mazda dealer to drive onto his forecourt. And I said, have you got a key to that one there? I want to take it for a test drive and have the papers ready when I get back, because this is going to be the fastest sale you've ever had. And I took it out, came back, he had the papers ready. I signed it off and came home. And my wife, Janet, was waiting for me. I said, how'd it go? And I said, well, interesting morning. Apparently I've got an inoperable, incurable, advanced cancer and a sports car. And bless her, she said, oh, about time too. So I had my little skateboard, my Mazda MX-5, which I loved. It's Mark 1, pop-up lights, all the gear. I never thought we'd be together for 11 years. And I kept apologising each MOT to the dealer, saying, I'm sorry, we weren't supposed to be together this long. And eventually it had to go. But it did strike me that how ignorant I was of prostate cancer, of cancer generally. The only tool at that time was Dr. Google, a very dangerous place to go. A lot of the information is incorrect, a lot of it is out of date, a lot of it is to do with America and not relevant here. And that's really how I started to get involved in campaigning for better treatment, better respect of the patients, better understanding, and more information. In those days, the consultants would meet and they would tell you what they were going to do, and you would blindly follow along. It's quite daunting to challenge your consultant and say, but why? Is that the only choice? What are the side effects? Why should I do that? When I met with Jan in the pub for the lunch, and she was grilling me on how I started, topic of cancer support groups, what we did, how we did it, how we publicised it. And she went off, and little did we know what was going to happen from there, as Jan started her own support group called Cancer United. Bit of a football fan, this girl. I've been amazed, enthralled, and impressed by everything that Jan and Cancer United has done. I'm also delighted at the way the members involve themselves and take an ownership of the group and see it for what it is, a support group where we support each other. It's not just having stuff done for you, but they get out there in their t-shirts, they raise funds, they support each other, they pick each other up, they take each other to places. It's wonderful to see and how it's grown. And of course, not content with that, Jan Niles wants a complete cancer centre. Of course. Why wouldn't you? I did ask her once when she had her eye on a place, how much do they want for it? How much? How much have you got? Really? And she said, don't worry, Nigel, it'll come. It'll come. And for Jan, it always does. She wanted a bus. Got 4 buses. And this girl is outstanding. I just had so much time, not just for Jan, but for Cancer United, what it does, what it achieves, and with its members who actually own it. So I have enormous admiration for Jan and for Cancer United and the work that they do, helping people with a cancer experience to help each other. So maybe you've got a cancer experience yourself, in the family, a close friend. Perhaps you would like to get involved with one of the support groups, the social, the fitness, the choir. It all takes money. Desperately need money from yourself, from your business, from your school. Have an open garden, have a cake day, have a stall somewhere, use book sales, whatever you can think of. If you're like me, you walk John O'Groats to Land's End, jump out on an aeroplane. In their case, you go on a wire at Brighton, whatever it takes. So however little, however much, a one-off donation, a regular donation is even nicer. Gift aid, if you can afford it, it all helps. Not only are you going to help the present members and the evolving of the groups, but Jan's views for the Cancer Centre can take a lot of money. And we can only do it with your help. So please dig deep, pass the word to your friends, not only those with cancer, but those with an appreciation of the needs today of a charity. We all need to dig deep. Money is short, the aims are high. Please come in whatever way and help Jan, help Cancer United, and help the members.